Hi everybody, welcome to Chartists. I'm your ginger gentleman, Alan K, saying, Happy Halloween! I sure hope you're enjoying the festivities as much as I am. Now, I suppose I really should do an episode for this month, because, you know, 'tis the season and all that crap. But, of what? Maybe a Defenders episode, I guess. But of who? I mean, if it were a Christmas episode, I could easily pull Barbara Streisand or Johnny Mathis out of my ass, but Halloween? Who am I supposed to defend for that? Elderly Metallica? No, I ain't doing that. Alright, look, just play the intro and I'll improvise.
You think I'm mad, don't you? Perhaps we're both mad.
Yeah, I got none. I admit that there just aren't that many Halloween artists that I could talk about in a Defenders episode. Although... Tell you what, why don't we switch it up and reach inside the surprisingly deep box of Halloween singles and see what we find? Halloween Court Case 1. Okay, for our first song, let's go back, way back to the 1960s and defend the ultimate Halloween song that the decade could have produced. You know it, you love it. I want my baby back. Gotta have my baby back. What? What song did you think I meant? So this is I Want My Baby Back by Jimmy Cross. Never heard of it? Well, here, let me catch you up to speed. First, our, singer, Jimmy Cross. Jimmy Cross, born in 1938, was an Alabamian who dreamt of the stars. Thus, in his 20s, he packed up his best Cletus impression and headed off to Hollywood. From there, he managed two relatively big claims to fame, the first being a moderately successful radio producer, and second, pulling a Rick Dees and making really terrible novelty songs. For example, this piece of crap, known only as Super Duper Man. Super duper 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 man, and he can't do it. Nobody cares. But easily his biggest novelty song and claim to fame would be his Garfield and Botkin penned comedy classic, I Want My Baby Back. And yeah, that's it. Not the most impressive of Halloween origin stories I know. So why am I discussing this relatively unknown trek? Because, dear viewer, I Want My Baby Back, his magnum opus, is officially the worst record of all time. Yeah, seriously. Like, it's not in Guinness or anything, but it has that title. And I'll admit, I'm intrigued in finding out what kind of a dumpster fire a song has to be in order to earn that distinction. So let's sit back and enjoy the dulcet tones of that unforgettable classic, I Want My Baby Back.
Ribs. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my...
Yeah, I know, obvious joke, but if I have to get chilies rolled every 5 seconds while researching this goddamn thing, then you have to deal with it at least once. Anyway, I Want My Baby Back.
I don't hardly know where to begin. I remember.
I mentioned earlier that I Want My Baby Back is a parody, and it is, of what were variously known at the time as crash songs. Crash songs, or torch songs, or teen tragedy songs were a popular form of record that were basically about kids dicking around in motor vehicles, getting into a wreck and dying. Teen Angel, Last Kiss, Tell Laura I Love Her, The Leader of the Pack, and so on. And out of this oddly precise trend, we got a song asking, what if we took this dumb idea to its absolute limit? 2 songs. I want my baby back. In all honesty, for a song that's supposedly so bad, it starts out pretty indistinguishable from its target of mockery. There's a couple in a car.
I remember we were cruising home from the Beatles concert.
Then another car comes down the road.
And what do I see? Some mushhead on a motorcycle.
Then nature takes its course.
Me and my baby were about to meet the leader of the...
And voila! Pretty standard. Really, ignoring Cross's voice, the first half of the song isn't that different from Last Kiss when you get right down to it. But then the second verse happens.
It's been many months now since that fateful night, and you know something, I tried. Believe me, I have tried. I just can't make it without my baby. I've decided I'm gonna have her back one way or another. Oh, baby, I dig you so. Hot dang, pay dirt.
Holy shit!
I got my baby back.
Yeah, he straight buries himself alive at the end of all that. Like, it's not even a little up to interpretation. Sadly, somehow this went over the line for some uptight people, and it never really caught on. Apparently, it was too stupid even for 1965. And remember, this is the kind of thing that could top the charts in 1965. So, yeah, pretty messed up. But we're not here to answer whether it's pretty messed up. We're here to answer, is it really that bad? Is I Want My Baby Back really the worst record ever? No. Like, no. I mean, if nothing else, he did have other, if we're being honest here, much worse parodies.
He just called on me, James Bong.
And that ain't even touching his serious music.
Hey little girl, would you like to wear my ring?
But more to the point, even though, yeah, it's really not a record I'd want a DJ to throw on during a Halloween dance party, I kind of think that the song does do some things right. It's certainly unique, if not funny. It definitely goes for it. It's a parody that says something about its target, which for me is a good parody requirement. I guess what I'm saying is, you know, the bones are there, so to speak. Hey, if nothing else, I like it more than that damn Grandma Reindeer song, even if Cross's voice really starts to annoy after a while. In a kinder world, I Want My Baby Back would be performed by somebody whose personality setting wasn't always stuck on Blue Collar Halloween Comedy Tour edition. With that in mind, though, Jimmy did love the song's dubious title, which I'll admit is a pleasant change from those artists that can't handle the slightest whiff of being called less than perfect. And while if we're being honest here, the song's title is a little hyperbolic, I do think that it's a good thing that it's recognized for something, if only a little inaccurately. I've never been voted the world's worst anything, so who am I to knock it? For now, I'm just going to sincerely say give this one a listen on Halloween, and your resulting opinion will tell you whether I'm trying to give you a trick or a treat.
Now I got my baby back.
Halloween Court Case 2. Hey everyone, it's the Monster Mash!
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight.
Yeah, you know it, the classic Halloween staple by Bobby Boris Pickett. The song you're almost certainly going to hear at least a few times this year, as you have done every year since you were born. As everyone has done since it was released back in the 1960s. And despite that fact, it seems to be a decently well-respected piece, so why am I defending it? What, are you kidding? I ain't doing that. See, once the Monster Mash became a Monster Smash, haha, Mr. Pickett discovered his calling and decided, as any orange-blooded American would, to milk that gimmick yearly until the day he died. And today we are going to look at his ostensible worst song ever, Monsters Rap. Back in 1985, with rap becoming more widely accepted in popular culture, Pickett decided to head back into the studio and throw together a hip-hop themed monster song that is, in many ways, a sequel to the Monster Mash, which, despite only ever making one album, Pickett made a lot of, including Monsters Holiday, Monster Swim, and no joke, Climate Mash, a remarkably pissed-off global warming themed remake of his big hit.
These claims from industry heavies let the president rest behind his own protective levees.
Monsters Rap never made it big in any market that I'm aware of, though it did develop a following on the Dr. Demento show, because of course it did. That said, despite not exactly being well known, I've come across more than a few sources decrying it as one of the worst Halloween songs ever, and hell, I'm up for a challenge, so let's take a look at it. Okay, so first off, what is Monsters Rap about? Basically the same thing that Monster Mash was about. An evil scientist creates a monster, it wakes up, starts doing a music-related thing. Chorus repeats like 15 times, fade out. Monsters Rap is a sequel in basically the same way that like Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a sequel. And again, for someone with such a narrow recording history, he did that way more often than you'd think.
It's been 30 long years since I've walked these stairs down to my lab. No one cares.
But hey, that's not necessarily bad. A copy-paste sequel can be its own entity. We just have to ask ourselves, what makes it different? Oh, and before you say the rapping...
The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrode.
No, that's basically the same as ever. Really, the thing that separates them the most is the time periods they happen to be made in. Monster Mash is very 1960s with its girl group style pop sound, and Monster's rap is... not. So the question now is that enough to make Monster's rap bad, or at least worse? Honestly, I think it's kind of an improvement. There are a lot of people who say that Monster Mash is a classic, and, you know, I say that's fair enough, but at the end of the day, I really don't think that Monster Mash is a good record in and of itself. The hook is weak, the lyrics are dumb even for a novelty record, and most egregiously, the production is super thin. Monster's rap, on the other hand...
Shock the body, body, shock the body, shock the body, body, shock.
Yeah, there is way more that I like in this one. Better hook, fuller sound, lyrics that...
I got bolts in my neck, laptop head, I'm 8 feet tall and I'm back from the dead.
well, can't have everything. And while the idea of adding in a silly rapping monster guest verse is kinda dumb, I honestly don't think he's that bad either. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of Big Bang Hank from Rapper's Delight. Yes, Monster's rap is very stupid, but in all sincerity, you're not going to have a Halloween rap song that you can take seriously anyway. Shut up. Look, the point is, I'm sorry, it would probably be an improvement if for once somebody threw this on in lieu of its more famous predecessor. Halloween Court Case 3.
It's Halloween, it's time for scares, it's time for screams.
Defense? What defense? This song is perfect. I don't need to say a goddamn thing about it.
It's Halloween.
Okay, got time for one last case before we go. Hit me. Halloween Court Case 4. And give me a hard one this time. Okay, less hard.
'Cause I'm in love with a monster.
So instead of being given a crappy Halloween song, I'm being given a Halloween song by a crappy band. Okay, I do like a challenge. Now, before anybody gets desperate enough to pull that last-ditch, hypocritical, who don't have anything nice to say argument out of their ass like a 12-year-old trying to get punched in the face, I want to say that while in the past I've said some terrible things about a lot of artists, there were plenty of times that I just wasn't being fair. Okay? And in the case of Fifth Harmony, no, Fifth Harmony doesn't just suck. Camila Cabello sucks. A big part of my allergic reaction to Fifth Harmony goes right back to Miss Moving On and the fact that Cabello's vocals sound like Tommy Pickles being lowered into a blender. And while yes, there are still plenty of Fifth Harmony songs that I hate with a passion, it is unfair to lay all of my hatred on the group. So in the interest of fairness, I want to take a look at what could reasonably be said to be Fifth Harmony's big Halloween single. Off of the Hotel Transylvania 2 soundtrack, I'm in Love with a Monster.
Buy me a thorn before you buy me love. I'm in love. I'm in love with a monster. I'm in love. And I won't be getting love from it. Ain't what the time.
Alright, so as a song in and of itself, it's not bad. Of course, I don't know how it could be since it's basically just ripping off another already good song, Mercy by Duffy.
You got me begging you for mercy.
But okay, all the same, it's not bad. There are even some parts to it I like. It's got some hustle and flow and soul, and all that's good. That being said, they kind of spend the runtime tearing it down. They bring it down the same way that they do on most of their songs, which is choosing not to cooperate for the purposes of producing a cohesive short song, but instead immediately going full Aretha Franklin every time any member gets their turn. But overall, like I said, it's not bad, and you could definitely do worse. That said, I don't think it would have been amiss to put in the effort to make the record a little more Halloweenish. As it stands, it's only just kind of touching the edge of being a Halloween song. And to those of you who would respond, well, maybe it's not trying to be a Halloween song. Yeah, it is. I know it might be hard to accept, but any product trying to have some sort of creepy vibe is banking on becoming a Halloween staple, and this is no different even without the movie. Don't get me wrong, as a Halloween slut, I do totally dig the horror-ish video, but I can also say the same for Everybody, and I really don't count that as a Halloween song at all. Though, to be fair, while I'm in Love with the Monster is using the ultimate "you're pushing it" cliche, it's a lot closer to the mark than Backstreet Boys giving themselves a "My Name is Prince" style shout-out. Overall, though, they're pretty clearly putting more effort into making it seem like a Halloween-friendly song than actually making it a Halloween-friendly song. That said, given that the last few years have slowly been trending toward Halloween singles with the same sense of humor as the Silent Hill game, I can't really hate on this one that much. It's got energy and joy, and even Cabela doesn't irk as much as usual. And yeah, I like a little fun in my Halloween song, so overall, I admit I wouldn't mind this becoming a Halloween staple over the next few years. And if nothing else, it's better than what Becky G coughed up for the first film. Now that's just horrifying.
Thank you! Good night!
Okay everyone, that's it for this one. This has been Chartists with your ginger gentleman Alan K saying good night and happy Halloween.